I have been talking about Stellar or XLM for quite some time now on this channel, and in fact, it's a project that I think has always been overlooked and even undervalued. And leading into that November run, when we think about how crazy that time was for a lot of these projects, Stellar was still one of those projects that a lot of people just continued to overlook. They didn't think much of XLM, and then into November when we started to go crazy, that's when everything started to change. That's when we started to see a lot more eyes really kind of looking at XLM and focusing on what Stellar is and was even doing at that time. Today, though, I think that same mistake is happening, where a lot of people, after the hype kind of died down, they kind of gave up on a lot of these projects, and now they're still overlooking Stellar and XLM at a crucial time. I do think this next run is going to be very significant. We are going to target those highs from back in December. And then after that, we really look at the highs from 2021 being retested. And then it's the historic all-time high retest. That level is 94 cents. Once that's broken, XLM will easily breach the $1 plus, region. I think that we go significantly higher. I think that we could easily hit $2 to $3, and even then we could still go higher. It's questionable on how much hype and demand there will be, but I definitely think that this is one of those very bullish projects that a lot of people have just been overlooking for quite some time. Now, in terms of the chart, there's really only one thing that's kind of holding us back here, and I want to go over a few things. Number one, the low that we ran to. This was a very big low. It was actually a retest of about 36 cents. This is also retesting major resistance going all the way back to March, February, even like almost the end of January. But it's also a liquidity wick from back in December. And we held this as support so far. Now we're trading at about roughly 41 cents. And the only thing that I'm actually watching here outside of this 36 cent zone holding is 47.5 cents roughly being broken. If we break above these highs, and this is the high from the week of July 7th and also the July 14th. If we break over this high, we quickly retest the highs back from December and November. This will start that big move back to the 2021 highs of roughly 79.5 cents. And then those highs of 94 cents almost. XLM right now looks extremely bullish. A lot of people are ignoring what XLM is about to do, and I really think that it's at a very important time in this market as well. We just witnessed major changes happen around crypto in the US. Regulatory discussions and even movements are happening. Bills are getting passed. We're starting to see green lights across the board for crypto to be integrated into the system. And some of these projects, and I said this even about XRP, some of these projects have been building towards this world that we're entering for years now. And Stellar is one of them. This is why we must focus on these projects that everyone is, continuously overlooking or ignoring. And they're opting out for more hyped up projects that don't really have much tied to them. But let's actually talk about a few things. Number one, let's talk about Meridian, right? Because Meridian 2025 is coming up. This is going to be a very big event. It's happening on September 17th through the 18th. And we have here, from industry partners to Web3 thought leaders to ecosystem members, Meridian 2025 is shaping up to be unmissable. If we take a quick look at this event, here we have the announcement of it. This is just like the homepage of it. They do have a video if you guys want to watch it. And this is where blueprints become breakthroughs. And then down here, they do have the grants, awards, and funding, technical talks, connections, interactive workshops, keynotes, and firesides, exclusive VIP sessions as well. And then we have the speakers here. So these are the featured speakers. There's a few big players here, right? We have, some big companies, DTCC, MoneyGram, Pantera Capital, even new. And this is the agenda at a glance. So we could see some of the key things that will be discussed here. Obviously, DeFi is going to make a huge, spotlight, here, as well as tokenization. We can see some of the companies down here as well. Franklin Templeton is going to be included. PayPal is going to be included as well. MoneyGram, obviously that's a big name, but overall, this is looking like a very big event. On top of that, here are more of the sessions. Like I said, DeFi is going to be a big thing here. Tokenization is going to be a big thing here. Stablecoins will probably be one of the biggest topics here, and there's over 11 pages here to really kind of look into. Here's a full list of the speakers as well. So it's not just those companies that we were talking about. There's so many names tied to this event. I'm very excited about this. Even when we go back to previous years as well, this is kind of like the Ripple Swell for Stellar, right? This is their big event, and I'm very excited to see what gets announced at this event. It's upcoming, very close to it, September 17th through the 18th, and it kind of is crazy to think about that because, the summer went by like nothing. I mean, this year has been flying past us. But outside of that, Stellar also just introduced a big update, which is Protocol 23. It introduces 8 new core advancement proposals to the Stellar network. The mainnet vote is coming up on August 26th, so this is, very close as well, in line with Meridian. So here's the TLDR on what's new. Token interface events can now be emitted for all Stellar operations that move value on the network. Smart contract costs are decreased thanks to moving state to RAM. Costs are also lowered because of the modular cache. Manual restoration of archived entries is no longer necessary. Per ledger CPU capacity can now be increased significantly. The per ledger read capacity has also been increased significantly thanks to parallel execution. More useful host functions have been added to smart contracts, contract executable, getter and string /byte conversations. And I know that a lot of this kind of sounds like, you're not going to really understand it, but the main thing that we're looking at here, and just to kind of summarize all of this, is the efficiencies that we are known to have for Stellar. All of that's actually increasing in a better way. And this is just upgrading the entire backbone for the Stellar ecosystem and network. So this is going to open up more doors of opportunity for, new use cases to, hit the network, scale as well. Developers are also going to flood into the Stellar ecosystem because of these advancements. So I'm very excited about all of this. It also shows us that they're continuing to build, they're continuing to make a lot of noise, and they continue to improve the network itself. Now, on top of that, some big updates also got pushed around the same time. This goes back to July, but, Boundless. So Boundless XYZ, this is a very big project as well. This is a ZK protocol. So this is 281,000 plus followers being introduced to Stellar. We have here Stellar Org is joining Boundless to support the signal, powering ZK interoperability across every chain. The signal aligns with Stellar's vision for interoperability and lays the foundation for equitable finance. I'm loving these types of updates. This continues to be a common theme around this space now where, we constantly are starting to see interoperability and ZK tech being focused on. I really think that this is a big narrative to actually focus on as well if you are here for the tech. I think that the ZK side of the market is definitely a big one to really kind of watch, even around tokenization. So I love to see this. This is great. And also another big thing is Stellar has been making a ton of noise. Back in July, ChainSpec actually put out a post regarding the leaderboard in terms of the fastest blockchains. We have here from July 11th to July 18th, the race for blockchain speed is heating up. Solana holds the crown. Definity stays sharp in second. BNB Chain holds the third. But big movers. Stellar actually climbed up to the 4th spot with a solid performance boost. And then, of course, this project, Taraxa, I hope that I'm saying that name correctly, slides to 7th after its early lead. But if we look today, Stellar is still number 4. We could see those transactions per second as well, over 182.3. We could see the max theoretical TPS over 2032, and we could also see the transaction volume here as well. But again, we love to see how much Stellar is growing, and this is a very good way to actually see that. We can actually see the last 30 days, how this has increased significantly. We did hit 144.4 on August 2nd. This is the last 90 days. The biggest spikes here, 144 is pretty much one of the biggest spikes in the last 90 days outside of July 4th, which was 145.5. But we love to see it. Overall, this is great to see, and it really does show us that Stellar is starting to see a pretty big demand for the network. So this is awesome. Now, outside of that, let's take a quick look at tokenization, because we know that Stellar has been killing the tokenization game. $13.13 billion tied to these public networks. We do see stablecoin market cap really growing as well. You know, that's pretty obvious at this point. But Stellar is at number 5. It did get flipped by Solana and Aptos recently. But when we think about Stellar, you know, $450 million tied to it's one of the largest networks for tokenized value. It is down a little bit in the last 30 days. Stablecoin market cap is actually up about 24% in the last 30 days. RWA holders also up about 11% in the last 30 days. We love to see that. In terms of the growth here, the Circle USDC stablecoin is actually up 23.71% in the last 30 days, sitting at about $208 million. We love to see that. AUDC also growing here. Wisdom Tree is also growing. And if we actually look at what's been really growing here, USDC is obviously up about 12.1% in the last 7 days. EURC, or EURC itself, right? This is the Euro stablecoin from Circle, 2.2%, about roughly $2 million. The AUDD stablecoin is up in a huge way from 7 days ago. That's just because we're starting to see that money actually hit the network. And then in terms of Wisdom Tree, we're seeing a growth across the board here. So we love to see that. Again, it's just showing us that there's so many different RWAs on Stellar, and it seems as though we're going to start to see a lot more hitting Stellar over the course of the next couple weeks, because there was also a big update that I saw over on X that did get shared from the Stellar team, and that's actually with this update here. So we do see here from Mike Cagney, I appreciate the call out for figure from Franklin Buy at Pantera Capital here. Though our volume numbers and TVL are higher than mentioned, and agree that the only RWA on public blockchain that really matters are blockchain native securities. Figure is adding over 800 million in loans on Providence Foundation this month alone, and working to bring these assets into DeFi applications on Providence and other layer ones like Solana, Avalanche, and Stellar. So $800 million is going to be hitting these networks. Obviously, we don't know what value will be tied to, you know, Stellar or anything like that. But this is also a clear signal and a sign that Stellar continues to be at the center point for a lot of these tokenization moves. And even if we go back to RWA.xyz, if we take a quick look at what's been happening around the tokenization market, it's still an ongoing, you know, huge wave of just tokenization moves, which we love to see. It's not a, you know, hype narrative. It's not, you know, something that's dying out. I mean, this is all in like the last 24 or 48 hours. It seems as though there's just so many big moves happening around tokenization. And this is a space that I think everyone should have eyes on, especially if your network is seeing a big, you know, push on it in terms of tokenized RWAs, which we already know Stellar is, because this is where the future of finance and almost every single financial market out there is going to live on chain. And so far, we do have some big players here. And I do think that, you know, these are the winners, right? Already getting a lot of RWA value tied to them. Real world applications are also very valuable at this point as utility starts to become the focus. So, you know, Stellar already has real world value tied to it. It already has real world use cases tied to it as well. So Stellar is definitely at the top of the list next to XRP, next to Hedera, next to Algorand, all of those big players as well, for that, you know, utility value tied to it. This is true and real utility, not hype, not speculation, and that matters. And I really think everyone should be focused on that type of value at this time in the market where we are starting to see the entire shift happen in real time. But this is all proof that, you know, XLM is going to continue to make a ton of noise. And just like it did back here in November, I do think that XLM is going to shock everyone on this next big move, because so much is happening behind Stellar. There's been a lot of great updates and upgrades happening to the network. So definitely focus on what XLM is cooking. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, set notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.